بكم مشاهدينا الكرام في حلقة جديدة من برنامج إكسبو يجمعنا، حيث تسعى الإمارات إلى أن يكون إكسبو دبي إضافة متميزة إلى سجل هذا المعرض العالمي العريق. إنها المرة الأولى التي ينظم فيها هذا المعرض في المنطقة العربية وفي هذه المنطقة من الشرق الأوسط بوجه التحديد، كما أنها المرة الأولى التي تقوم فيها دولة عربية بتنظيم حدث بهذه الأهمية. سيتيح إكسبو دبي المجال لتواصل العقول وصنع المستقبل عبر الاستدامة والتنقل والفرص، وسيحظى الجميع بفرصة لبناء عالم أفضل وتشكيل مستقبل أكثر أمانا وازدهارا. فرصة أيضا لزيارة دبي الرائعة. في جولتنا اليوم في دبي باتجاه الجناح الألماني سنصحب السيدة إلينا شيلدن. هي اليوم إحدى سيدات دبي بامتياز وصاحبة مكتب ماير-رومان أند بارتنرز للمحاماة، وأعطتنا موعد في هذه الحديقة الجميلة هنا بجانب شارع الشيخ زايد. أراها لقد وصلت، لن أدعها تنتظر كثيرا.
Good morning.
Hi, say, I will stay next to you. This is a beautiful spot. It's a hot day, but it's okay. So, why did you bring us here in this park?
To introduce you to the world that I saw when I came here back in 1990, the first time when I arrived here as a trainee.
I don't think it was like this, right?
Almost. When you just look at it that way and you forget about one of the other buildings, then you know you're almost there.
So you brought us for the Dubai World
Trade Center. Exactly.
Okay. And everything here was empty.
There was nothing around the Dubai World Trade Center. There was a big roundabout. The next building, I think, was later on the City Tower 1 and the Crown Plaza.
True.
There were Rastamani buildings and the Trade Center apartments on the other side. But looking down Sheikh Zayed Road, it was pretty empty.
What is your story with this building?
The story is that I applied for an internship to the law firm Meyer-Reumann Partners, and I got accepted. I got sent a plane ticket. I hopped on the plane. I didn't know what to expect. I went out of the airport, and like so many other people, the heat. Did they forget to switch off the turbines? This is the normal, typical story.
Yes.
And the first day in the office, that was the site that I arrived here. We were on level 13. All these years, all the 30 years that we've stayed in that building.
30 years?
Yes, 30 years.
In this building?
Yes.
Same law firm?
Yes.
You came here, how old were you?
26.
Oh my God, that's amazing.
Yeah.
In this building, I mean, it's a history of your life.
It's a very iconic and unique place. It was the place to be. It was one of the main office buildings. It had the consulates in it, and many of German law firms, German companies at the time, and other law firms, local law firms, us as the law firms.
And you know what? It didn't age. It's a beautiful, iconic tower, even though it's surrounded by a very modern building and towers. I think the history speaks about that building, and your story, of
speaks
course.
for itself. That the vision of Sheikh Rashid at the time when he chose that place, everybody told him why there, and as you can see, it's basically about the center of the city.
Exactly. I love, that you chose this park. It's next to Sheikh Zayed Road, which is very, very, very crowded and busy during the whole day and even at night. And there are greenery. I love how everywhere in Dubai, wherever you go, there are a park, a public park. And we are here now to see this behind us. I love. Thank you for your choice. I still want to chat with you. We can make a small tour in this small park. Sure. And then we continue our chatting, discussion. Let's go. So we're still here. Thank you for bringing us here. Today it's a bit hazy, it's a hot, but a little bit breezy, which is will make it, will compensate for the heat anyway and the humidity. But Elena, I'm still, loving this idea that you brought us here to Dubai World Trade Center, and the story behind it is fascinating. When you came here first, you worked in this law firm that is named
Meyer-Reumann Partners.
Yes, you were still.
I was a trainee.
You were still training and freshly graduated as well.
Not yet, even when I first came here in the year 1990. So this is why this place, and to look at it, is also very special, because I came here for a period of 4 months for an internship. I was just about to graduate, and I applied for the post to have some experience, international experience. First I applied to Saudi Arabia. That didn't work out, so I came here instead. And I was placed in a flat in the 2nd of December Street. At that time it was called Al Diafa Street. Yeah. So the first time when I, came from the flat and drove to the building where the office was, I saw it exactly the way that it is now.
Everybody saw it. Everybody see that building.
There was really not much around it. The place was in the middle of nowhere, with the vision of Sheikh Rashid at the time, to place it basically as the center. And the office was there, and I started working with the founder.
And they accepted you for a training, right?
Yes. It was a period from May to September 1990.
And we were talking, even the owner of the law firm, he left you and went for work or vacation and left you there?
For vacation. So yes, I came. It was, like it is today. It was, a time when it is hot and hazy. Sometimes when I came from the flat, I couldn't even see the trade center. It just,
almost like today.
Almost, when you're there, you have it right in front of you. And yes, it was vacation time. It was August. And he said, well, you're doing so well, and I want to go
this is
to
a very
Germany.
big challenge.
I have clients that I need to see, and would you be willing to, be there 2 weeks without me? I said, yeah, well, no, of course.
I'm really curious to know, what was your first assignment as a lawyer on your own?
The first assignment, even as a trainee at that time, was an international private law case that I've also specialized on during my education, and where I have a qualification on, which deals with families of different nationalities, assets being placed in different countries. And I was dealing with inheritance and family matter, with where I had to solve which law applies to all the persons involved and what the solution would be.
Wow, you took the challenge and you succeeded, actually. This is a very big step for you. Tell me, when you came in the early 90s, actually 1991, how was the atmosphere and the environment for women in the legal field?
It was... Dubai has always been a place very welcoming for female lawyers as well. Actually, from the very beginning, we had this group consisting of 5 female lawyers. We were from Germany, myself, Russia, South Africa, Lebanon, and Denmark. And we were all placed in different areas of work. One as an in-house lawyer, one working with a local law firm, me for an international law firm. So the place, Dubai, makes it really easy for a woman to find their place in work and to do what your heart desires.
How is it now? 30 years later.
The same. You have, of course, much more law firms, much more lawyers, but law is definitely a field where a lot of women are also like to work, and where women have a lot of talent, especially in specific areas. I think they have a lot of talent to work in legal fields, and there is no limit to.
I'm curious, you studied and graduated from a university in Germany, in Passau. But you come here, it's a different kind of legislation. Do you have to learn again, study again?
I'm a fully qualified lawyer back in Germany, which is a civil law country, the same like it is here in Dubai as well. So in essence, the laws are very similar. The company laws, the way you work with the laws, the way you approach a case is very similar to here. And For one, my qualification is to be here, admitted also to the regulating authority, to have a license as a lawyer, and also to obtain a license for the law firm. So the qualification from abroad helps me to be able to act here as well. Other than that, what you learn at university is the way to work with the law, and but you know, later on it's learning by doing, and
practice.
you go. Exactly.
Tell me, this is the career, and you were blessed that your career picked up very quickly with the firm that you are in now. But also you met the man of your life here.
Yes, so for me it progressed from working here as a trainee, then you know the founder at the time, Mr. Meyer-Reumann, we really worked well together, so he did offer me the job to come back and fully work as a lawyer for him. And whilst doing this for some time, being on my own, I was lucky to meet my husband here. He's from Dubai, from Jafliya actually, and yes, by now it's over almost 25 years, and we have 2 daughters, and so this is pretty much home for me now.
Amazing. Your husband is Emirati.
He's Emirati, yes.
Yeah, so the question is always, and you have 2 beautiful daughters, how do you raise kids when you have a mixed marriage and 2 different cultures, Western and Arabic, Western and Eastern culture?
Well, for one, it's, I think, very important to decide on a language, that they grow up with all the languages. So that's for one, a big part of the culture. So I always spoke German to our daughters. My husband always spoke Arabic to them. So, and because we're living here in the country where their family is, it was very important for me that they always spend time with their cousins and their aunties, spend enough time with them for the language. So the culture, the influence of the UAE culture in our family is very strong, and we live it basically, yes. Not only this, but you know, I have modern aspects, bring the modern aspects, Western, to the family. My daughters, you know, are very much rooted in their culture and society.
And they studied, of course, here in UAE.
One of my daughters studies at University NYU in Abu Dhabi. She decided to stay here. My younger daughter, because she wanted to go into the medical field, she studies now in UK in Brighton at the University of Sussex.
Amazing. But definitely she will come back home here. One question that I want to ask you, because let's go back that you came as a trainee and you worked in this firm for 30 years. Tell me, how did you evolve over the years in your career, and how you came as a trainee and you became the owner of this law firm, not only partner?
What has helped me really is that Mr. Meyer-Reumann, the founder of the firm, was this amazing person. We developed a deep friendship. He was my mentor. I was 26 when I came here, so they were my family. Him and his wife were my family away from home. And we just complemented each other very well. You know, he was the marketing person, the face of the office. I was the one keeping things together and also working with the clients. So, but then the trust just progressed, and also, you know, the experience got bigger and bigger. It's always a decision for the owner of a law firm to appoint a partner. So of course there has to be the faith in the ability, but also, you know, a certain amount of trust. And I was lucky enough then, you know, as of having been offered the post, then offered the partnership after a couple of years. Unfortunately, Mr. Meyer-Reumann 4 years back fell sick and passed away meantime. And but I feel very proud to be able to continue the legacy, continue to carry the name of the firm, because it has just, you know, been such a great story to work under this name the last 3 decades.
3 decades, so that's amazing. That's a long time. What a destiny, what a story behind it, and very, very inspiring story, Elena. I am sure because you are in the, you are a lawyer in the legal field and you are German, You must know most of the German here, the German community, right? Or they know you?
When I came here, the community was fairly small.
Yeah.
So, and you know, the places were not that many to go to, so you would bump in basically going out one place, you would bump into the other Germans. And yes, we have a good standing in the market. We are known also in the German community, German-speaking communities. And
they are now about 12,000
yeah, I think
German
it's between
community.
12 to 14,000, I guess.
Yeah.
I cannot tell you the correct number, but it's about this.
Yeah,
yes.
but what attract them in Dubai to come and settle from Germany, from Europe, to come in here?
When I came here, already all the big names of companies were here. So
course.
automotive, construction, road construction, any type of construction that was here, even architects are here. It's just the immense amount of opportunities Dubai offers in all kinds of sectors. And but also in like niche markets or in markets where there is really German specific products, like, you know, opening a restaurant, offering, you know, specific culinary, you know, foods, and you know, special products that Germany is famed for, wooden toys. You know, these are the small niche markets where also you find a market here for them as well.
Excellent. Elena, it's really getting hotter and hotter. And you know, you moved from this tower, the Rashid Tower, Sheikh Rashid Tower, to another tower in here, correct? So it's like 5 minutes walking from here?
Yes, it is.
But we're not going to walk, don't worry. We will take our cars because it's really hot in here. But how about you finish this chatting in your office?
Of course, of course. It was a very good transition that we made. It was a bit part of kind of, you know, making the firm my own.
Yeah.
And then, yes, we'll be happy to invite you to the new office.
Thank you. On our road to Expo and the German Pavilion, we will make another stop and go to your office and then to the German Pavilion. We have a very nice gathering there waiting for us. So let's go.
Thank you.
مرحبا بكم مشاهدينا من جديد. Thank you so much, Elena, for bringing us to your office. It's definitely cooler. It was very hot outside. I have two questions left from the first location. It was too hot, and now that I remember that I didn't ask them, and I wonder. I watch a lot of TV and those series of lawsuits and the courtroom, and they always talk about like 60 plus hour working per week. Does this happen to you as well?
It does.
Really?
Definitely.
More than 60 hours a week?
Well, occasionally, you know, the work goes up and down, and if a case requires that much work, then you just have to do it, because then we're working on deadlines, and you know, then the correspondence goes back and forth. So in the beginning, we cannot anticipate what course sometimes a case will take, or a matter that needs to be negotiated or possibly settled. And then whatever hours it takes, whatever time in the day, you just have to do it.
I know it's a very shallow question, but always I have to wonder, how do you make it between family and this amount of work?
For me, especially the last year, with also the scenario of pandemic, was really a learning curve, because we all had to move online, and we made it work. And of course, you had before also the options to hold virtual meetings, but then it became more normal. We moved everybody online when we had to close down the offices and only reduce work as what was allowed. And at the beginning, I really enjoyed it. You know, it was nice to just stay at home and have the freedom to work whenever you wanted. But though there was no real, you know, split, and it was difficult to keep the balance. So what I've learned from there for myself, I need the time to prepare to go to the office, to get ready, to, you know, plan the day in my mind, have this place as my working place, and then when I go home, I completely, can leave it behind and then dedicate the time that you need to, unwind and have time for the family.
Maybe you answered a question about how did you adapt during the pandemic time, that you switch into Zoom meetings and working from home. But during your career,
you always have to make, and this is maybe the point that I'm trying to make, is that it needs a conscious effort. You have to work on it. It doesn't, balance just doesn't happen by itself. To really have to observe and take the time and make a point of taking the time for the family. So, but, as you said, of course, in the career, in the beginning, I was on my own, then I got married, then I had a family, and the founder of the firm, Mr. Meyer-Reumann, was always very supportive. I was able to work part-time, work from home at that time, have always enough time with the family. And gradually, as the kids grew older, I increased the hours in the office again. So it is the help that you need, also from the support from the family, that the kids are well taken care of at home and in the house, and the support from to increase the hours in the office.
Ich bin in Deutschland geboren.
Okay.
So I was born in Germany, in Hamburg, and I forgot the German language. You've been here for 30 years. Tell me that you learned Arabic.
I did many attempts. I tried many times. I did a lot of courses. I took a lot of classes. The problem, I would say, is that Arabic is such a difficult language. It's,
Germany also. German
I
language
know,
also
but I grew up with German, so there's not much to learn. Of course, maybe to perfect it at school, but Arabic is not an easy language to learn, especially not if you only learn it, from a certain age, and you don't really practice, in daily life. You don't really need the Arabic. In the office, it's mainly English or even German, the clients that we are having. So it was always, making an effort because of my husband, my family, to try to understand, which I do. And my family, my husband's family, stopped talking to me in English because I made maybe the mistake to respond, when the conversation is going on. And so I replied and gave my comments then in English. But they know that I understand.
Let's make a deal. You try with me to make me remember the German language, and I will help you practice the Arabic.
Would be my pleasure.
Thank you. Let's talk about the legal environment and the legal sector in UAE. How did it evolve? Do you see it adapting and evolving over the years with, all what is new?
Of course it had to, because when you compare it way back to the time when I came in 1990, there were certain legislations did not exist, certain laws did not exist. So they were implemented because of the need of it. So the intellectual property protection, trademark laws, copyright law, patent law. Then, when it was possible for foreigners to acquire real estate, then, the real estate legislation was evolved. So whatever, is the need, and it's a pleasure to work here as a lawyer because it's always work in progress. So you're part of always contributing to something new, learning something new that makes the work sometimes challenge, but also not boring, and it's a pleasure. So
the legislator in UAE listen to you and what you need and your client needs?
Yes, definitely. Just look at the recent changes in the companies law. It's been in discussion for a long time that certain companies would prefer to come here, or only come here if they have 100% the possibility for 100% ownership. The government listened and made the changes to the company's law. So while you still have the freedom to, have a partnership with the Emirati partner who wants to be involved in the business for certain sectors and activities, there is now the possibilities that company can be 100% foreign owned.
I'm not familiar with the legislations, and if we can compare to any other countries, is it flexible here compared to other in the region or in Europe or anywhere, the legislation, how it moves and how it adapts?
I think in every country it takes a certain process and procedure, and sometimes it's faster and sometimes it takes longer because a lot of considerations. So I'm not able to say that in other countries or here it's faster than in other countries because you just need to follow the process, whatever it takes to.
Can we make the comparison between the legislation in UAE and in Germany, especially that you came from there, even, 30 years ago? What are the differences between the two?
I would say, as you have in Germany, you have a country that consists of 16 federal states, each one having a different government, where there is differences in the way how they handle things, especially when, investments or foreigners would like to be interested to set up in Germany. So I think there it's a little bit more complex and more things to consider. It depends on the location, really. But I think key to either going to Germany or coming here is just having the right advisor from the start, involving the correct person, doing your homework and getting the information together.
What can the German companies face as challenges legal-wise when they come here first?
Occasionally it's maybe a little the expectations that they have. For one, what we are facing with the clients is sometimes they think it's much easier. They just, hear about Dubai as this evolving city and everything is possible. And coming from Germany, that maybe answers your question, from, more complicated, more tax-orientated, more regulated jurisdiction. They always feel that it's here more easy, more flexible. Things can be done very quickly. But on the other hand, here as well, whether you set up in a free zone or in the mainland.
It takes time.
It just takes time. You have to prepare the documentation, and that's sometimes a little bit of a challenge to, inform the client that, you have to observe certain timelines as well.
What help do you provide them in this?
For one, if they let us, we from the beginning set realistic timelines and goals. We make sure that we fully understand what their activities are, what their future goals are, what their intention is in terms of the size that they want to set up here, the focus that they have, whether their market is the UAE, whether they intend to, cover surrounding and neighboring countries as well. So that all plays into advising them what the right structure would be and what's the correct legal form. Also, if they would like to have partners, prefer not to have a branch office, there's a whole set of criteria which we assess and then recommend what's the best option for each individual client.
We spoke about it earlier. There are around between 10,000 and 14,000 German people in the community settled here. What is the image they want to reflect for their community coming from Germany?
Not sure whether they really think about what image they want to reflect, but I think the image that by nature Germans reflect is that they're very reliable, very punctual, very detail-oriented. And I think it's an image to maintain. That's, I think, the main observation that I have, that everybody that comes here has to live up to certain expectations, how Germans are perceived, because Germany is a long-standing economic partner of the UAE. When I came here in 1990, all the German companies were here because of the image that Germany has, because made in Germany has such a high value. And so there is an image to maintain and live up to, and I think most of the Germans are aware of that and do this.
And they are up to it as well. So have you visited the Expo before?
Yes, I went to the Expo when there was the possibility to visit the pavilions that were open, Terra.
Yeah, Sustainability Pavilion.
And yes, that was wonderful. I did not yet have the chance to see the German Pavilion yet, so I'm looking forward to it.
Me too. I didn't see it. We will go and discover it together. The German Pavilion is almost done. I was told it's just the latest finishing in that pavilion, very advanced, the construction in it. And thank you for making the gathering happened, because you are the one who invited His Excellency, the Ambassador of Germany and UAE, Mr. Peter Fischer, and as well we will be joined by the Deputy of Commissioner General and the Director of the Pavilion, Mr. Sebastian Rosito, and I was told he's in the plane and coming from the airport.
Amazing.
I don't know who will arrive first.
We will see.
We will see. And we will have an interview there. I'm looking forward to discover this pavilion. Me too. I didn't see it before. So let's go.
Great.
Let's go. Germany Pavilion. Elena, thank you for making this happen. Honestly, you did a great job and I had a lovely day with you. I want to welcome His Excellency, Mr. Peter Fischer, the ambassador, Germany ambassador to the UAE, and Mr. Sebastian Rosito, who is the Deputy of the Commissioner General and the Director of the Pavilion of Germany. And I know you came directly from the airport for this interview. Thank you so much. I want to start with you, Your Excellency. When on our way in to the pavilion, it was a campus. It's a huge classroom. Why do you want us, the visitor, to go back to school?
Well, that's the proposal,
Yeah.
that it's like a school, a university,
Yeah.
and you come to a registration like you do when you come to school. Let's use the example of school. Then you go through the different stations.
Yeah.
We have energy transition, city of the future, biodiversity, and at the end you'll experience something special at a graduation ceremony. That's our concept to guide our visitors through the pavilion.
I saw the graduation stand, and it really brought back a lot of memories, back a lot of years ago, but it's nice memories. Thank you for this. Sebastian, what is the theme of this pavilion, Germany Pavilion? What is the message of this pavilion?
Well, Germany decided to be here at the Expo and especially to be focused on the topic of sustainability. So our main message is to showcase for all the audience here all the innovations and technologies Germany has to offer in this field. So we decided to do this as a campus, because the campus in a traditional way is a place where people from around the globe come together, exchange, learn, and make the first plans for the future. And that's what we wanted to have here in Dubai as well. That's the reason why we call it also Campus Germany.
That's amazing. Elena, what do you feel? This is, I think, the first time you came to the pavilion as it is now, almost done. The latest finishing, we can hear them here in the background. What do you feel?
It's an amazing venture, and it looks really great, and I cannot wait to see it really in the final stages. And I think, Germany has so much to show for, and this is just, embodied in the pavilion and gives, all the German nationals to show their friends and colleagues and business partners what Germany stands for, and, invite them to see Germany, even if you're in Dubai.
It's beautiful. Your Excellency, Sebastian earlier mentioned sustainability, which is a huge, important component of this Expo. You are the permanent representative in IRENA, renewable energy. How important for this Expo to have as main topic sustainability?
Well, it's the most important thing, because at present, as if we look at the news every day, we can open it, we can see that the way we are living on the planet is not sustainable. It cannot go on this way for a very long time. So we have to change. Business as usual is not good enough anymore. And we want here at the German Pavilion to show some of the ideas and contributions that we can make, but it will really take the whole world. And if I can say this, UAE and Germany are ideal partners for this, because UAE is deepening and accelerating its transition to a more diversified economy, to a sustainable, knowledge-based economy, and with also manufacturing here, state-of-the-art manufacturing, and many things that we do in Germany fit perfectly towards that strategy. So we're very complementary, and this is the work that we're engaged in.
Amazing. Sebastian, I'm sure you are the director of this pavilion. You went back in time and you saw what Germany was doing in the last 170 years almost in Expo, and you tried to make here with the whole group and the country team something different, something exceptional for Germany and for Expo Dubai.
We always try to showcase something very unique in every expo. So that's the reason why we decided at the end of the day, it was a tender. We drove with this pavilion, and we decided this concept because we thought that it's the best concept we can showcase for Germany at Expo 2020 in Dubai. And we love it. As you can see it, it's a very unique pavilion. We haven't built something like this before, so it's pretty new also for us. And we are really looking forward how the visitors are going to like it.
Beside the pavilion, the inside, of course, pavilion that there are, and beside its huge campus, what else you can tell us about it in terms of sustainability? How does it reflect sustainability in this pavilion?
Yeah, we tried also in the planning to make sure that even this construction is sustainable at the end of the day. So we decided to use certain materials who are going to be back in the circular. Once we are dismantling this pavilion, they are going to be reused, for example. We try to use as less material as possible. That's the reason why we have also this ETFE facade, and we are not using their glass windows, for example, because it's more sustainable in that way. And of course, we have a climate concept here, and we try to avoid as much energy as possible to keep everything very low.
Excellent. Elena, what do you think this pavilion, this expo will represent for the field of yours, of your expertise, the legal field? In starting 1st of October, this will be filled with people, investors, academicians, experts, politicians. How do you think this will be beneficial for your field, your work?
Well, as you say, Dubai always has been a meeting point, a hub, traditionally a business trading point, and also a lot of companies use Dubai as a hub to also, be active in all the surrounding countries. So there's a lot of interest in our clients, to come from outside, from Asia, from Europe. I think it will be a good opportunity to use this expo to meet halfway, to have their meetings. I also have a lot of interest in business delegations where they want to explore the market, see what the expo is like, and to take this as a chance to come here and see what Dubai stands for.
And you can bring your clients here.
Definitely.
That's amazing.
And you can prepare. We can of course help them prepare, the information that they need, be that any information or even the legal information, and they get everything what they need on the ground to explore Dubai as an option for a setup.
And it's connecting everybody. Your Excellency, the trade between the two countries, the bilateral trade between UAE and between Germany is around $6 billion in 2020. How do you evaluate first this volume of trade?
Well, UAE is Germany's biggest trading partner in the MENA region. Larger even than with Saudi Arabia. But trade is only one part of the business relationship between two countries. And traditionally, Germany has been selling products here, let's just say the cars, everybody could see them in the street.
Yes.
And the Emiratis have been good buyers of German products. But that's the old way. What's next is that we create products and services together, that we create intellectual property together, and we use the hub and platform function of the UAE to sell and distribute that worldwide. And of course, state-of-the-art products that are not only good business, but that also help to improve the world. That's the real challenge that goes beyond the traditional buying and selling of goods.
True. And I think the infrastructure is here for this ambition and this plan and strategy of the future that you have between the two countries.
Yes, the UAE's, as the UAE transitions, if I'm allowed to say that, away from focusing so much on the oil and developing new fields, the UAE is a very good partner for these things. And projects are underway right now for synthetic fuel, for planes, medical technology, and many others.
Sebastian, when we were talking before the recording here, His Excellency said, Sebastian, live for the challenges, because building this pavilion and any pavilion in Expo is very hard in the normal time. But building it and do this job during pandemic and coronavirus time is another level of challenge. How did you overcome these challenges?
Yes, it was indeed a very, very tough time for us all in the team.
What did you face?
We faced a lot of challenges. It started with the communication. We weren't be able in Germany or in Dubai to have face-to-face meetings, for example. So we started with all the video conferences, which was pretty new for us in that massive way. We find out how to deal with that. We tried to do the best of it. We never stopped. That's, I think, also a very important point. We did our job. Also, the construction side never stopped. We just reduced the labor and the timings to avoid, of course, the infections also within the team. But we tried to really be positive and to see the outlook, what's coming next year. Because we knew in May, June, it was already fixed by the BIE that the Expo is going to be postponed by 1 year. So we had a target line. And that was very important for us to see the target line and to motivate us and to do the next steps, of course.
What do you think, Elena? You think this will be an opportunity for the German community to do more business and to come more, to be attracted to be here in UAE during this Expo?
I believe so. I mean, as I mentioned, it is just such a strategic point where the UAE is in, and all the interest that has been with the Expo, that Dubai UAE was awarded the Expo, was with so much anticipation. I remember that I was at an event at the evening when it was announced and the decision was made, and there was this amazing firework across Dubai, to celebrate.
Yeah.
So I really think because also of the concept that many of the buildings will be here afterwards, and because of the sustainability, that this is very unique and very interesting for a lot of people to see.
Yeah, you brought back a lot of memories. I mean, it was like 7 years ago that the decision that came that Dubai will host this huge mega event, and in few years, despite the pandemic, it will happen and it will open in 1st of October 2021. Your Excellency, 2022 will be very important for the relationship between the two countries. It will mark the 50th anniversary of the official relationship between the UAE and between Germany. Are you planning for something for this anniversary?
We are planning for something. Unfortunately, I can't reveal it today because it's also still in the projection stage. But yes.
But what does it mean, 50 years of tight relationship between the two countries?
It means that we were one of the first countries to establish diplomatic relations with the UAE. It means that we've had a partnership and a friendship throughout this time. And it means that we will look back on the foundations of our friendship with many pioneers, including Sheikh Zayed, who liked to go to Germany to among other things, to meet a certain falconer. And we're trying to collect those old stories, to present the basis, but at the same time to look at the future of the relationship. And what will stay is a friendship and a spirit of partnership and cooperation. But 1972 was a different time, and we will be doing new things together in the same spirit in the future.
It's amazing how this country in only 50 years or less became the way it is today and is hosting the first Expo in the Arab world and in Africa since 170 years almost. Tell me, Sebastian, what are the visitors can expect when they come here to the Germany Pavilion?
The visitors can expect a very fun pavilion. It's an entertainment pavilion.
Yeah.
Of course, we have a lot of messages, a lot of technologies, innovations to showcase, but we want all the visitors to do it in a playable way, because if you play or if you have entertainment, you learn even faster. That's what we think, and that's the reason how we built this pavilion at the end of the day. And we are showcasing a lot of things for the wide audience, not only the business visitors, for the wide audience, families, children, elderly people. Everyone is welcome. Everyone is going to find something very special here. We are also showcasing the culture of Germany with our cultural lab, and also our culture in sense of food. We have a very nice restaurant where you can have a lunch or dinner and experience some German food at the end of the day.
I love this about Expo, that it is cultural, it is business, it is politics, it is history as well for the countries, diplomatic ties, but also culinary experience, which is very good, and I love food, so it's very important. I will come to that restaurant, I can see it, it's there. Tell me, Elena, I know you will come when it opens to
Definitely.
the German pavilion. What other pavilion you are looking forward to see it as well?
Well, naturally, because of German speaking, I also would look at the Austrian pavilion, the Swiss pavilion. But from my experience from the Expo in Milan, which I visited, when it happened there, every pavilion will be just great and worth the visit. Sure. And every country is just showcasing their best and inviting visitors to see what you said, their culture and the culinary experience. So. I'm sure I have a season pass already, so I'm going to be here regularly.
And UAE Pavilion, your husband will be a little bit disappointed if you don't see it on air. UAE Pavilion, you will have to visit together.
Of course, definitely.
Okay, definitely. Good that I reminded you. Your Excellency, in 2000, Germany hosted the Expo as well. Where was it exactly?
In Hanover.
Hanover. And the main topic was main nature and technology. Somehow this still almost the same. We need the manpower, the nature, and we are in the middle of the flourishing of the technology.
Yes.
Didn't age, huh? That didn't age.
Yes, and I think that will be the message of this pavilion and of the whole Expo. Man, humankind, is at the center. We live in nature, we live from nature. Nothing that we do, we can do without nature. And we have to adapt our technology so that it's compatible with nature. So these themes of the Expos, I guess, are running through, and 2000 isn't so long ago. That's still our main challenge, is say, how do we as humankind live compatibly with nature, and what technology do we employ? I think it's a thread from Hanover to here.
Exactly. How, before we finish this amazing interview with you, how this pavilion reflects also the theme of Expo, Connecting Minds?
Yes, Connecting Minds, Creating the Future, the main topic of Expo was also very important within our concept. That's the reason why we built group exhibits. That means that only when people work together, these exhibits are going to work.
Sure.
And you can use them with everyone. So it could be that 4 people from 4 different countries are coming together and using this co-experience together. So I think this kind of exhibits are very important to showcase that we always have to see what we're doing with our neighbors and put our strength together and our power together to really solve the big challenges.
Amazing. Yeah. Elena, what do you think the legacy that will be left from Expo Dubai?
I think it has the importance is the legacy that the buildings will remain. Certain of the buildings will remain, have a function later, and I think with what Dubai is usually and UAE stands for, creating something amazing, I think it will be a good example for future expos to take, what they can do.
I want to finish with you this interview, Your Excellency. Do you think that this Expo will be the announcement of a new era, post-pandemic era? Hopefully, it connects the world to work together better to face the challenges.
There's a nice wording for that in this region. It's called Inshallah.
Inshallah.
all the possibilities are laid. It will be one of the first global meetings, inshallah, fingers crossed, hopefully as we're coming out of the pandemic.
Yeah.
And it will be an example to show how can we have a safe global meeting under the health conditions which we experience now. So if we all work together, again, that's the theme, then we can have a nice expo and we can have a better world.
Thank you so much. Thank you, Your Excellency, for coming back way from Abu Dhabi to here. Sebastian, from the airport to here, and Elena, it was an amazing day with you. You brought us to your pavilion here. And honestly, I love how we coordinated together. You helped me in this episode in coordinating this beautiful gathering. Would you like to work with us?
Yes,
really?
definitely.
You are very helpful for me. Thank you so much, Elena. And thank you for
pleasure.
the beautiful day and episode. Hopefully, we will meet you when the German Pavilion will be open. I will come again for the restaurant and for a tour as well.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. شكرا لكم مشاهدينا على المتابعة. الأسبوع القادم بإذن الله جناح آخر وأيضا شخصية أخرى في إكسبو دبي. تصبحون على خير. So we go.